Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Talking to the Wall 4, because apparently I haven't gotten tired of doing this yet. So, let's just go through the patrons real quick. Thanks to Alan, Billy, Blizz, Brett, Caleb, Chen, Christoph, David, Edia, Eric, Gary, Joey, the other Joey, Christopher, Matthew, Miguel, Mathaldu, Raymond, Rodrigo, Sackchief, and Z for their continued support. The links are in the description. You should know this by this point. The gameplay in the background is the Vita version of Atari Flashback Classics. I am specifically checking out the arcade games. So, I am going to be doing a video on them, but we'll get to them at the very end of the video. So, we have some Vita news, not that much. The main story is that, well, Atari Flashback Classics is out. Night Trap is still missing in action, unfortunately, but still, we've got Atari Flashback Classics, which is nice. Digimon Story Cyber Sleuth, the original, not the Hacker's Memory one, has actually been delisted from the North American store. It just happened this morning as I write this, which is a little bit disappointing because that's still a good game. And, well, now you can't buy it in North America unless you go for the English Asian version, which is probably sold out everywhere. There's another game in the Japanese visual novel series Memories Off that's probably never going to come stateside. And there's trophy lists for Nightcry, which we knew about, that horror game, and Heroes Trials and Planet RIX-13, a RPG and an adventure game, to be specific on those two. Those are two we don't know about yet. Heroes Trials is probably going to be a Ratalaika port, because I saw a trailer of it on one of their channels. RIX-13 I'm not so sure about though, but still, there's some announcements. Cool. So let's get on to the actual, well, not the actual game news, but you know, the game news that isn't Vita related. The United Kingdom now has a developers union. Okay. I'm not really sure what to say about that one. If I'm being honest, I'm not entirely sure what unions do. I suppose they're meant to try and get an even playing field and just generally better conditions for workers, and if that's the case, well, that's good, I suppose, but from what I've read in the comments about this, apparently unionization efforts in Great Britain have apparently gone quite badly in the past, so we won't know how this will actually work out for a while. But we'll see either way, hopefully getting better conditions in this industry where things like 100-hour work weeks aren't exactly uncommon towards the end of big game development. I don't even know how people do that. I have enough trouble working on projects that I'm personally interested in more than a few hours a day. I can't even imagine what it's like doing a 100-hour work week. Poor bastards. So, Kingdom Hearts 3 leaked, and that's not really a surprise. Apparently, someone might have stolen it from a shipping company, but I mean, yeah. A month and a half before the game is even supposed to come out, it gets out there. It doesn't surprise me in the slightest with how much fervor there's been behind Kingdom Hearts just in general. I need to take time to actually finish that series, but I started playing Kingdom Hearts 1, and it basically just made me do Fetch Quest Jamboree on the first island, and I just got kind of sick of it and put it down. I haven't picked it back up again, but nevertheless, they have leaked Kingdom Hearts 3, but the neat thing is, the bonus movie and the epilogue aren't actually included on disc. They will be released as a patch one day after the game comes out because nobody can realistically finish Kingdom Hearts within a day or so. That's bloody nuts. Like, that is honestly the best way to keep the really, really special stuff hidden from the actual game playing public. Just don't include it until a day after the game comes out. That's actually really interesting. People are going to complain that they're not going to be able to, like, update the game or whatever, but I imagine there's going to be, like, some sort of prompt that's like, you know, this is where the epilogue movie is supposed to be if you haven't updated the game yet. And chances are, as soon as those patches are released, those movies will be up on YouTube. Just that there's no chance that they won't be, so even if people aren't able to update their things, they're probably going to be able to go and watch them anyway. Although if they are, I feel sorry for them at this point, because imagine not being able to update Kingdom Hearts 3 and not being able to see the epilogue video and the special video. That is a little bit bad, but that is probably the best way to keep it from getting spoiled up until the game actually comes out. Although I wonder how it's going to work with the Japanese version, since apparently the Japanese version is going to be released a few weeks beforehand. So there you go. PUBG Mobile apparently has as many players as Fortnite. That's just bizarre. I honestly thought PUBG was on the way down, but apparently it was best game of the year in Google Play, and Google Play doesn't actually host Fortnite. And apparently the mobile version of PUBG actually works really well on low-end phones. So they might actually be getting a lot of numbers in places like India, which is one of the major things that was sorted in the r/games thread, where apparently the game runs really well on low-end phones and has apparently got a major exposure boost, which is surprising, but also not that surprising. So yeah, that's actually pretty cool. As many as Fortnite, not to mention the desktop version. And apparently that number doesn't even count China, which is incredibly bizarre. That probably means that PUBG Mobile is wiping the floor with Fortnite just in true player count. Not anything particularly massively newsworthy going on there, but I just thought I'd mention that because that's a neat little statistic. The NES and SNES Classic are going out of production. If you don't have one by now, you should probably get one, otherwise you're not going to be able to get one. So they were meant to be like one holiday only things, but with scalpers and all that making the NES Classic really hard to find, they ended up being a little bit harder to find than normal, so they got another production run. But they will be gone as of like next holiday, next year. So yeah, that is going to suck for people who want one and haven't managed to get their hands on one yet, but at the same time, you've had plenty of time at this point. I don't think it's anyone's fault other than yours. I wonder if they're going to release more consoles with like different sets of games though. That would be interesting. Don't really know how they're going to go about that, but it will be interesting to see just how they go on with the classic sort of production stuff. I wonder if they'll end up making a Game Boy Classic. They've probably got the hardware to do it. Oh well. What's up next? The last update for Minecraft for PlayStation Vita, PlayStation 3, the Wii U, and the 360 is just coming out. Killing support for 4 different platforms like that all at the same time. Imagine that. Not to mention all those platforms have been out for years. So that is a ridiculous amount of support. I'm actually kind of impressed. But yeah, that is almost kind of depressing in a way. You know damn well that those platforms are done when Minecraft stops updating for them. May they all rest in peace, especially the Vita. The general thing about Minecraft is that they updated that shit forever. Like, seriously. So to see them all gone is a little bit depressing. 2 games are feeling the crunch of being released in overcrowded markets. The first one is Heroes of the Storm from Blizzard, who have cancelled all their pro events from 2019 onwards and are basically maneuvering the development team down to a skeleton crew, which is unfortunate because Heroes of the Storm was the one MOBA I played that I could actually get a handle on. It was very, well, I don't want to call it casual friendly because it definitely wasn't like, there's definite strategy going on in there, but at the same time it was the only game I felt like I could actually play without being yelled at by a Russian for being shit. So it is a little bit disappointing to see it going down the hole of all those MOBAs that didn't make it out the starting gate. But at the same time, there was a big rush for MOBAs, a mush for robas apparently. There was a big rush for MOBAs, and I was wondering if Heroes of the Storm was going to get caught up in basically the tailwind of Dota 2 and LoL. And it more or less has now, although apparently Blizzard is trying to do some cost-cutting measures across the board, and that is kind of strange because this is Blizzard we're talking about. Usually they're fine just working with what they've got, but there you go. Apparently they just need to save some money. Is World of Warcraft going down in subscriber numbers again? God only knows at this point. The other one is Islands of Nine, a battle royale I played like 6 months ago. And it was basically just a really generic high-tech battle royale game, except there wasn't even really anything high-tech about it. It was just the visual look of it was high-tech. and it wasn't particularly interesting. The learning curve was ridiculous, the guns weren't great, and the map got really boring because it was actually surprisingly small, and they needed something like 50 players, and it felt realistic. It felt overly cramped, which was a major problem with it. And yeah, that game just didn't feel right, and it's gone free to play, and its development has just completely shuttered. So yeah, that's unfortunate. Because, again, it's just another game that got caught up in the tailwinds of Fortnite and PUBG. And there's a few other games that have suffered this fate as well. There was, what was it called? There was Radical Heights, which was the Lawbreakers studio deciding they wanted to try and jump on another bandwagon and lost horribly. And there's probably just a fair few other Battle Royale games that have just died recently, and they will continue to die because that's just how Battle Royale games go recently, because the market has well and truly put itself in the particular situation. You've got PUBG for the realism. You've got Fortnite for the cartoony side of things and, you know, the kids and all that. And then you've got like all the really minor ones that can work with low player counts and have things like bots, but those are so niche that they might end up in the same position as Islands of Nine within a year. The Culling, that was the one I was thinking of. Apparently they're still working on that one though. They shut down development of Culling 2 at least, which was interesting. But yes, Battle Royale games just going down the hole once again because that's just the thing that happens. Ys 9 has been announced for PlayStation 4. Monstrum Nox, apparently, which is a hell of a name. I can't even imagine what sort of name that would be. That definitely sounds like the sort of end boss monster, although it might be the name of the prison city that the game takes place in, but we don't know that much about it just yet. It was revealed at a shareholders meeting of all things, and it'll be out sometime next year. There you go. That's probably the biggest game announcement this week. And I got two more stories for you. The first is that The Walking Dead has apparently been swallowed up by the Epic Games Store. You will still get every episode if you bought it on another platform, but the only way you can buy it fresh now is via the Epic Games Store. An odd choice, considering that it definitely makes the Epic Games Store look a little bit more like a refuge for dead or dying stuff. Just a bit strange. Like, why pick up that series of all things? But oh well, okay. And that's just a little bizarre, but not too much out of the ordinary, I suppose. They really need to start adding more features to the Epic Games Store if it wants to be a little bit more competitive. And this one is a little weird, and I wanted to end it off because it's a guy I follow quite intensely. I'm actually kind of surprised I missed this. But, long story short, the original developer of Leisure Suit Larry found the original source code for the games and was going to auction them off on eBay, but was stopped by Activision, I think it was Activision, who currently own the license. However, a tech historian by the name of Jason Scott went live on Twitch and started reading out the source code. Literally reading it out, picking up sheets of paper and reading it out, transcribing it, well, hoping people would transcribe it into actual source code. That's just a bloody bizarre move. I wonder how hard he's going to get sued for that one. But yeah, that is just a fun little story to end off the week with. Wasn't that busy of a week, but there were a few little neat things going on here and there, so there we go. If you're wondering what's up next on the channel, we have the Vita version of Atari Flashback Classics, which I'll be recording a video on as soon as I'm done here. There will also be a PS2 video. I know I don't do much in the way of old consoles, but this will be one of them. At least I assume this will be coming out this week. It will be Blood Will Tell. Osamu Tezuka's Dororo. I think I pronounced that wrong, but yeah, I never remember the guy's name. But yeah, I've been playing that recently, and I figure I'll do a video on it because it's a quite interesting game. I also have review code for London Detective Mysteria, but just in case I'm not able to get video done for that, which, to be fair, I probably won't for a couple of reasons. At least this week anyway. I'll try and get it out the week after next, if I can't get it out next week. But I also have my videos on Onrush and Just Cause 4 just waiting to go. So hopefully I'll be able to get all of that done. Or at the very least I'll be able to get most of it done. So you can see a little bit of original content and then a bit of content I've had backlogged for weeks because I just haven't had the time to put it out. So there you go. So that was talking to the wall for you. I apologize if I sound tired. It's because I am. I only got out of bed 15 minutes before I started recording this video. And I needed to get it done nice and early because I am working very hard on not only my Flashpoint project, but there's a second project that I'm starting. My god, I'm going to run myself rampant at this point. But there you go. This has been Blue Maxima. If you liked the video, subscribe, share it around, like it, comment on it. And if you've done that already, thank you very much. I will see you all next time.